Alright everybody, Old Pop is back with another guide for you guys. Again, today we're going to cover more Hearthstone, and we're going to cover 4 decks throughout this video. It's going to be Bomb Warrior, Tempo Mage, Aggro Weapon Rogue, and new Libram Paladin, and the differences between the pure Paladin and the Libram, but we'll get into that later. That's last on the list. So let's jump into it. First, Bomb Warrior. So, Bomb Warrior used to be a top meta deck in the last expansion, Ashes of Outlands, or whatever the fuck it was called. But in this one, it took a little bit of a hit, but it's definitely still a top meta deck with the changes that were made. And let's start with the breakdown of the deck. We'll go through it as you watch me play my opponent. So, first I want to start off by saying that this deck does have a good amount of luck involved, because your main way of doing damage is your bombs that get put into your opponent's deck, and they have to draw it in order to, take the 5 damage, which, if you're playing an opponent that has a lot of draw, then obviously you're going to do better against those opponents, and believe me, sometimes you will get really pissed off when they're not drawing the bomb and there's only 5 cards left in their deck. But that being said, it's still very viable, and let's jump right into it. So first off, you got 2 Risky Skippers. Risky Skipper, after you play a minion, deal 1 damage to all minions. This is a really good clear card for you, and we have a couple other cards that are low cost in order to really ramp that up and clear the board for you easily. Next up, we have 2 Shield Slams, which deals 1 damage to a minion for each armor that you have. This is an excellent card, and it only costs 1. It's really, really good. Next, we have 2 Sky Raiders. This is one of the cards that's really good for Risky Skipper. It only costs 1, and its battle cry is add a random pirate to your hand. So again, that random pirate that it's adding is also helping Risky Skipper out, helping you clear the board. Now, we're going to get into how the weapons work and stuff like that. So we have 2 upgrades, and what upgrade does is if you have a weapon, give it +1/+1. Otherwise, equip a 1/3 weapon. You never, ever, ever equip the 1/3 weapon. You keep this in your hand, and you wait until you get your wrench, which is the bomb weapon. So, you run 2 of these. Some variations run 1. I think it's definitely better to have 2. That way, you're giving an extra durability to your wrench, which is adding an additional bomb into their deck. After that, we have 2 Armor Smiths. Armor Smith is really good with Risky Skipper because it helps you bulk up your armor, which is better for you. Like, obviously you'll have more armor, and then it's also good for your shield slam. But what she does is, whenever a friendly minion takes damage, gain 1 armor. You definitely want to run 2 of these. Next, we got Battle Rage. You run 2 Battle Rages. This helps you draw. This is your draw power for the deck. What it does is draw a card for each damage friendly character. Again, this all goes together with Risky Skipper. Risky Skipper, you put her out first. You send out 3 other guys. They're all damage. You hit the Battle Rage, and now you just drew 4 cards. So it's excellent to have this and run it and combo it together. Next, we have Corsair Catch. Obviously, this needs to be in the deck. You run 2 of these. You draw a weapon, and it gives it +1 durability. You 100% need 2 of these. That way you get the extra durability for your wrench, which is, again, adding more bombs into the deck. Next, it's our first weapon that's not the wrench. It's Anchor. And after it's a 2/2, and after your hero attacks, draw a pirate from your deck. So the options that you're going to get with this is either Risky Skipper or Sky Raider. Obviously, you're going to prefer Risky Skipper, but it is what it is if you get Sky Raider, because that's also adding a little bit of draw to you. You're not actually drawing from your deck, but you're getting cards into your hand. Next, we got Blade Storm. Excellent card, but it could be a little bit iffy if you're not doing the right things. So what Blade Storm does is deal 1 damage to all minions, repeat until 1 dies. So I've said this in a previous video with Control Warrior. If one minion has 5 health and another minion has 4 health, it's only going to kill the 4 health, and it's going to keep the 5 health guy with 1 health remaining. So you just got to be aware of that. Next, we got our first legendary card, Lord Barov. He's a special type of legendary. His battle cry is to set the health of all other minions to 1, which is including your friendly minions, and then the death rattle is deal 1 damage to all minions, including your side. So it's a really good clear card. This is also goes with Risky Skipper. You play Risky, actually in this case, you would still play Risky Skipper first, and then Lord Barov, which will, because his effect takes first. So essentially, Risky Skipper's out there, you play Lord, his effect goes first, it sets everybody's health to 1, and then Risky Skipper does her special ability, and it still clears out everybody, so it's actually really good. Now we got our beef card, Shield Block. It's been in the game forever. What Shield Block does is it gains 5 armor, and then you draw a card. You run 2 of these. You definitely want the extra armor because this is a lot of stall while you're waiting for them to draw the bomb. So anything that helps you stall is 100% necessary. Then you run 1 Horde Pillager. Excellent card. You definitely don't want this card early game. You want this later game, or you'll take it whenever you have a wrench available. But if you start off with this in your hand when the game starts, definitely get rid of it for later. What she does is, her battle cry is equip 1 of your destroyed weapons. You definitely prefer the wrench over anchor. Okay, now we could get into the wrench. This is what this deck is all about. Wrench Caliber. After your hero attacks, shuffle a bomb into your opponent's deck. So it starts off with 3 attack and 2 durability, but that's why you have 2 upgrades, because then you could give it +1/1, or you could draw it with a Corsair Catch, which will then also give it an additional durability. Honestly, the more durabilities that this has is the better. It's not really about the attack, it's about the durability for getting the bombs in the deck. And what the bomb does is, whenever it's drawn, it does 5 damage directly to the hero. So it's really, really good. It's what the deck is all about. Okay, now we're towards the bottom half of the deck. You run 2 Brawls. This is your clear card, other than, what the hell is that card? Other than Bladestorm. What it does is destroys all minions except for 1. Obviously, it's a little bit of RNG because you could get screwed in the end, and it keeps one of the better minions, but at the end of the day, it's still necessary to run because it's your clear card. It's one of the best warrior control cards. After that, we have Dr. Kastanov. Again, another great card for your wrench. It has Rush, and its ability is whenever this attacks, give your weapon +1/1. You truly want to keep this card for as long as possible. The more it attacks, the more durability you're going to get on your wrench, which is excellent. That's what it's all about. And now we're towards our bottom 4, and they're all legendaries. So we got Kronk's Dragonhoof. His battle cry is draw Galakron. If you already have Galakron, unleash Devastation. So what the Devastation does, you could either deal 5 damage to the hero and then gain 5 health. You could summon an 8/8 dragon with Taunt. You could give all your minions +3/3. And yeah, that's about it. So it's pretty good. Depending on your scenario, you're going to want to do something different. But it's also really good to play this in order to get Galakron, because Galakron really changes the whole flow of the warrior, but we'll get into that in a second. Next, big important guy in your deck. So Blastmaster Boom. His battle cry is summon 2 1/1 boom bots for each bomb in your opponent's deck. So each bomb, once the bomb dies, it triggers its effect, and it attacks a random enemy or hero for 1 to 3 damage. So, the way you want to go about this, let's say your opponent has 10 health, and he has a taunt in front of you, and you don't know what to do because the taunt has a lot of health and he's in your way. You play this card, and then you have all the bombs lined up. So, you could either play Brawl right after, and it's okay that you're killing Blastmaster because all the bombs are going to explode, and then it could either go right to the hero and skip right over the taunt, or it could take out the taunt too. But sometimes it's better off that it skips over him and just goes right to the enemy, which is perfect. That's what you really want to happen. And our last 2 cards, we got Galakron, the Unbreakable. So his battle cry is draw 1 minion, give it +4/4, and it gives you 5 armor. But it also changes your weapon, not your weapon, I'm sorry. It also changes your hero power. So what your hero power was gain +2 armor. It switches to give your hero +3 attack. So now, even without a weapon on, you could just gain +3 attack. If you have your wrench on, now you could have 6 attack. So it's really good, and it needs to be in the deck for multiple reasons. And now we're up to our last card. It's Deathwing Mad Aspect. So his battle cry is attack all other minions. Yes, this includes your friendly minions, so be careful while you play this. If anything, you might want to clear your cards out before you play this. It really just depends. If you only have like a Sky Raider out there with 1 damage, then it's okay if it hits that, and then it could clear all the other cards. So that's the breakdown of the deck. I definitely would assume it's a top 10 deck. Maybe top 12. It really has a lot of RNG. There is luck involved, which is why I wouldn't say it's like anything better than top 10. But I still think it's definitely very viable. And honestly, when it comes to just playing for fun, I do think it's one of the funner decks to play because, like I said, there's a lot of RNG. So one time you're playing, he could draw 4 bombs in a row, and he had no idea he was about to lose the game, and it's really funny, and you could laugh in the guy's face at the end. But I think if you're going to go for a warrior deck, Control Warrior might be more viable and consistent at the end of the day. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't play it for fun.
Job done. Pain and suffering await you.
Let me work my magic.
Reporting for duty.
I do love a good study session.
Great.
I feel bad for you, facing me.
Reporting for duty.
Let's blow this place.
Because he drew one.
Home in the shadows.
By the holy light.
Yeah, I have no idea why I asked him that.
I must have slain 100 or so.
The best defense is a great defense.
Reporting for duty. flame.
Very, very good. Okay. Okay, guys, now we are up to the Aggro Weapon Rogue. Now, I want to start off by saying there is so many variations of this deck. We are currently in the third day of Season 78. It started on September 1st. I'm recording this video on September 3rd. So, I'm giving you the most latest version, and I'll explain a little bit of the older version after I'm done going through this new version. I personally believe that this new version is actually better than the old version for a couple of reasons, but I'll explain that as we're going through the deck. This deck doesn't have anything more than 5 mana cards, and technically, one of the 5 mana cards you should never be playing once it gets reduced to under 5 mana, but we'll get to that later. So, first off, we have Backstab. And Backstab costs 0, and it deals 2 damage to an undamaged minion. Some variations do not run this, but I do think it's good because it helps combo, and it's free. You just do it, and then you could combo another card, and your combo cards require you to play a card first. So that's why I think it does belong in the deck. It is significant. Next, we have Deadly Poison. This is in every single variation, and it's actually in every variation of Aggro Rogue as well, regular Aggro Rogue. So, Deadly Poison, give your weapon +2 attack. This is so crucial. Also, I recommend trying to save it for your self-sharpening sword, and I'll get into the effect of self-sharpening sword as we go along. Next, and you also run 2 of those, by the way. Next, you have 2 secret passages. This is in every variation of Rogue right now. The card is extremely OP, and I think it's going to get nerfed eventually. But anyway, what it does is replaces your hand with 5 cards from your deck, swap back next turn. So, whatever your hand is originally, even if you have 1 card, it'll put that 1 card into the deck. You draw 5 cards, and then at the end of the turn, whatever cards that you didn't use at the end of that turn go back into your deck, and that 1 card that you had originally goes back to your hand. It's extremely OP. Next up, we have Spy Mistress. Spy Mistress is a 1-cost card, really good for comboing because she's a 1-cost minion, and she has 3 attack, 1 health, and she has stealth, so you get to stall the turn even though you can't attack the first turn. It's good because she essentially can't die. There are some scenarios, but not really. Next, we run 2 Worgen Infiltrators. He's got 2 attack, 1 health, and also stealth. This deck has a lot of stealth minions, and soon you'll see why. Next, we have 2 Evescreates. This is in every variation of Aggro Rogue right now. It deals 2 damage, but you never do the 2 damage. You play the combo, and the combo is deal 4 damage instead. I would say 10 out of 10 times, you always hit face with Evescreate. It's very, very rare that you would not do that. Now you could run 1 sap, only 1, and it returns an enemy minion to your opponent's hand. Odds are the only time you're going to do this is, well, the type of minions that you're going to do this on are taunts or a really high damage minion that's been bulked up that all the beef will go away once it goes back to the hand. Like all the buffs that it had on it will disappear. Next, you run 2 Sneaky Delinquents. This card is actually really good. So it has Stealth and Death Rattle. It has 3 attack and 1 health, and what its ability is, the Death Rattle ability, is add a 3/1 ghost with stealth to your hand. And the ghost is the same exact stats. 3 attack, 1 health, 2 mana, and it has stealth as well. Okay, so now the next card, and this will explain why we have all these stealth minions, is Greyheart Sage. So Greyheart Sage's battle cry is, if you control a stealth minion, you draw 2 cards. This is the draw power of your deck. Other than Secret Passage, this is one of the main staples of the deck. It helps you outdraw pretty much any deck. This deck is going to have more draw power than essentially anything. And you need to run 2 of these. Now, here we go with the weapons. First, you run 1 hooked weapon. So it's 3 mana. That kind of screws it over a little bit. I really wish it was 2 mana, but I mean, it would probably be extremely OP if it did. So first, it has 2 attack and 2 durability, but the combo is gain +2 attack. You never play this with just 2 attack. If you wanted to play a weapon in that case, then you could just do your hero power, which equips a 1/2. So always combo this card. Now, we're getting into the main staple of this deck. So it's called Self-Sharpening Sword. If you heard me earlier, I mentioned this with Deadly Poison. So its ability, it has 1 attack and 4 durability, but here's the ability. After your hero attacks, gain +1 attack. So if you have Deadly Poison on this, it'll now be a 3/4. By the end of all the durabilities, you'll be at 7-8 attack, and it's going to be very, very crucial to have that high of attack. And you'll see why later, because another card combos in with this card, and it helps you with the board and makes you a lot stronger. Another card, we have 2 of these. It's in every version of Weapon Rogue. It's called Volpera Toxin Blade. He has 3 attack, 3 health, but that's not what he's all about. His ability is your weapon has +2 attack. Now, this is what I was saying earlier. If you have this on the field, and you did Deadly Poison, and your Self-Sharpening Blade is towards the end, so your Self-Sharpening Blade would have 4 attack, then the Deadly Poison pushes it to 6, and then Volpera puts it to 8, and now 8 attack is a lot. You could really, in 2 turns, you could lower 16 attack. If you had this by mid-game, you'll essentially just wipe the floor with the person that you're playing against. Next, we have Dread Corsair. He's a taunt minion. He costs 4 mana, but he actually really doesn't cost 4 mana. So his ability is cost 1 less per attack of your weapon. So more than likely, you'll always play this guy with 0 mana. And he's essentially a free card, and he also helps you combo because he costs 0. Okay, so now this is in the new variation. It was in the original variation, but then there was multiple changes to this deck, and now it's back in, and I thought it should have never left to begin with. So you run 2 of these, and her name is Steel Dancer. She has 4 attack, 4 health, but her battle cry is summon a random minion with the cost equal to your weapon's attack. So, that's what I'm saying. If you have that 8 attack weapon and you play this card, now you're getting a free 8 mana cost minion. That's extremely, extremely good. Because 8 mana cost minions, for the most part, they either have a really good effect, or they're really strong, or they're a really good taunt with a lot of health. So, she should have never left the deck to begin with. I'm glad she's back in the deck. To me, it makes a lot more sense for her to be in it. Okay, so I mentioned this card earlier, how it's a 5-cost card, but it's really not. So it's Cutting Class. Draw 2 cards, but costs 1 less per attack of your weapon. So again, if you have Self-Sharpening Blade at 5, or even if you have your hooked weapon with the combo at 4, now it costs 1 or it costs 0. So this is in every variation of Weapon Rogue for obvious reasons. And now we're up to our last 2 cards, and they're both legendaries. We have Dr. Krastanov, which was also in Bomb Warrior. It's in a lot of weapon decks at this point. He has 4 attack, 4 health, and he has Rush, and his ability is whenever this attacks, give your weapon +1/1. Go figure, you're beefing up the weapon again. Duh, makes perfect sense to be in the deck, and yeah, it's an excellent card. And now we're up to the last card, Jandis Barov. She's a 2/1. She's cost 5 mana, but that's not what she's all about. Her battle cry is summon 2 random 5-cost minions, and you secretly pick one that dies when it takes damage. Now, there is so many different cards you could get with this, but I noticed, I would say maybe 20% of the time, so every 1 in 5 times that you play this, you'll get a Rush minion. So, if it's a Rush minion, you might want to just pick that card, let it attack, and then it'll just die right there anyway, so you'll be set. For the most part, you should be able to figure out pretty easily which one you want to die after 1 hit, because one tends to be better than the other. But you just gotta, feel it out and play it how you think it would work out in your favor in the end. So that's the breakdown of the deck. As you can see now, in this matchup, I am playing a Tempo Mage. The next matchup that I play is another Weapon Rogue, and the reason why I'm going to show you both matchups is because the Weapon Rogue, it's good to see how the game would play out when you're playing the same class as yourself, you know what I mean? So, this matchup is almost done. I think it's over in about 2 turns, and then you'll see me play the Rogue, and then we'll get right into the next one, which I believe the next up is Tempo Mage, actually. Ha, that's funny. Okay, so see you guys soon for the next step.
Justice is mine.
Unreal. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe I couldn't do Secret Passage. I should have done Sat first. What a fucking error. What a mistake. What a fucking mistake that I did not do Sat first. I really didn't think that it was fucking Counterspell. Most of the time, I really haven't seen Counterspell played often. I know you get a whole bunch of random shit, but that's really not what I was fucking expecting. Damn, bro. I really, truly did not expect it. What a fucking mistake. What a fucking mistake. I really, truly thought it was Ice Armor. Ice Barrier. Wow. That's like really, really disappointing. Because he's gonna be able to
explode!
Because he's gonna go for the luck. Yep. Just fucking dude, come on.
Time runs out on me.
Charge. Oh, yes, what a fucking match.
You win this.
Shit, man. Holy hell, bro. What a fucking... Great.
My head!
None can escape my fury. I am the Iron Hand of Justice.
Keep this. Oh, man. If I lose this one, I'm just gonna go into the next deck. Because I'm trying to make my video for you guys. Ah, man. I still can't get over that fucking one in the beginning with the stupid ass warrior. Unreal with the bomb. Unreal.
Better be something good.
Let's go, baby. Alright, what do we got? What do we got? What do we got?
Justice is mine. Justice is mine.
Bringing that pain. Bringing that pain. Just lovely.
A little something I whipped up. Justice is mine.
He's gonna hit me in the face. He should hit me in the face. Ah, damn, I don't know. That card really is a pain in the ass. It's Volterra. Now it's gonna do that and then hit me for the 5. Makes sense. Good old hooked. Oh, what is this?
Justice is mine.
I got him next turn. It's over. Unless he can kill me this turn, I win.
A cruel fate awaits you in the ashes. Well played. in the shadows. Justice is mine.
What a match. Alrighty guys, we're back and now we're up to Tempo Mage. Now, this is another type of deck that has a lot of different variations and it runs different spells, or they run a different number of spells. Some decks run multiple arcane missiles. This deck happens to actually runs none arcane missiles, but it has Violet Spell Wing, which its death rattle is to give you an arcane missiles, but it only runs one of those. Some have 2 violets. Other variations also run 2 devolving missiles. This variation only runs 1. I'm just giving you the most current variation that just came out season 78 2 days ago. So that's the variation that I'm giving you guys, because I just think that makes the most sense. So let's get right into it. First up, we have Devolving Missiles. So, it costs 1 mana, and it shoots 3 missiles at random enemies that transform them into one that costs 1 less. So, this card is really, really good. So, just for example, if you had, let's say your opponent had a taunt with 9 health and 9 attack. This Devolving Missile will lower it to another card that has 1 less mana and 1 less mana and 1 less mana cost. So it's really good. It'll get rid of a taunt and make it essentially into a nothing. So you also could be in a scenario where you play this and it hits a card that already costs 2 mana. If it hits that card twice, it'll just turn it into a 1/1 Wisp. So it essentially makes it a nothing card, and then you could just take it out with 1 hit, or even just leave it there. That's how bad the card would be. Next up, we have Evocation. Evocation is ran in every variation of Tempo Mage. So what it does is fill your hand with random mage spells. At the end of your turn, discard those cards. So normally I play this late game because sometimes you'll get really high mana cost cards from Evocation. So let's say, for example, it gives you like 2 fireballs. It gives you a counter spell. It gives you a vaporize. You know, all those cost 3, 4, 5, 6. If you're doing this on turn 3 and it costs 1 mana to begin with, now you only have 2 mana. So this is more of a late game card, even though it only costs 1 mana. It's definitely made for late game. Okay, now we're getting into the spell damage minions. This deck runs a lot of spell damage minions, or cards that help you discover spell damage minions. So the first up is Lab Partner. He's got 1 attack, 3 health, which is really, really nice to have 3 health for a 1-cost card, and it gives you +1 spell damage. You run 2 of these. It's also in every variation of Tempo Mage. Next up, we have Magic Trick. What Magic Trick does is it discovers a spell that costs 3 or less. Ideally, you'll get Frostbolt. That's like your best case scenario. Sometimes, obviously, you'll get something different. You could get like Mirror Image or, you know, Ray of Frost, but the best case scenario, you would get Frostbolt. This variation runs 1 Mirror Image. The old variation didn't have Mirror Image, but I actually think it does complement the deck nicely to have it in here to save your spell damage minions and for other reasons. So I think it's good to run one. And what it does is it summons 2 O2 minions with taunt. So like I said, the taunts will help protect your spell damage minions. Next up, you run 2 Primordial Studies, so it discovers a spell damage minion. Your next one costs 1 less. That includes the ones that you draw afterwards or the ones that were already in your hand. You could get really good cards out of this, really good spell damage ones. You could get one with taunt and +2 spell damage. You could get the Dalaran Mage, which is a 1/4 with +1 spell damage. You could even get Malagos, which is a 9-cost card with +5 spell damage. So it really does give you a wide variety of different spell damage minions, and it's really good that it reduces the cost of your next one by 1. Next up, we have Ray of Frost. It's in every variation of Spell Mage. It's a twin spell, so basically what that means is once you play it, you get another one back into your hand for free. So it's a twin spell, and it freezes a minion. If it's already frozen, deal 2 damage to it. So essentially the way this would work is you play the first one, it freezes the minion, and the next one that it gives to your hand again, now you could attack that frozen minion to deal 2 damage to it. Or if you have a spell damage minion, you know, it'll deal 3 or so on and so forth, however much damage you have because of your spell damage. Next up, we have Violet Spellwing. It's a 1/1, and its death rattle is add an arcane missile spell to your hand. Now, this card is really good because actually some of the variations used to run 2. That way you could beef up Arcane Missiles because there's a card called Mizaki. It's not in this variation, but it is in other variations, and you may see this card. That's why I bring her up. What Mizaki does is every spell that you play, she gives you additional 1 spell damage. So I've seen scenarios where Mizaki gets up to, 5, 6, 7 spell damage, and then they're just letting these Arcane Missiles rip. So if you have 7 spell damage and you play Arcane Missiles normally does 3. Now with the +7, you're dealing 10 random damage with Arcane Missiles, and people will have 4 of them in their deck, in their hand. So, you could really let them off. But this variation doesn't have Mozaki. It only runs 1 Violet Spell Ring. And I just happened to bring it up because it was the old variant, so it is good to be aware of that. Next up, we have Wand Thief. It's a combo card, and when you combo it, it discovers a mage spell. You could get a couple good things out of this. You could get Fireball. You could get Flame Ward. You could get Vaporize Secret. You could get an Ice Barrier. So it is a good card to have, and you run 2 of these. Next, we have Astromancer, Solarian. You run 2 of these. I'm sorry. You run 1 of these because it's a legendary, but it's in every variation of Temple Mage. So what it does is it has 3 attack, 2 health, and it gives you +1 spell damage, and its death rattle is to shuffle Solarian Prime into your deck. Solarian Prime costs 7. He's got 7 attack, 7 health, and his ability is to play 5 random mage spells. So once you play the card, it just does 5 random mage spells, and believe me, it could be devastating. So now we're getting to the draw. We have Cram Session. Draw 1 card, improved by spell damage. So that's why you have all these spell damage minions. The more spell damage you have, the more draw you'll get. Then we have Mana Cyclone. Its battle cry is, for each spell you've cast this turn, add a random spell to your hand. So you could combo this with Evocation. That way you get extra cards. Now we have Sorcerer's Apprentice. Your spells cost 1 less. This is in every variation. It's actually in every mage deck for the most part, because anything to make your spells cost 1 less is really, really good. Now we have Chenvala. It's a 2/5 legendary. After you cast 3 spells in a turn, summon a 5/5 elemental. So again, combo this with Evocation, Arcane Missiles, Devolve Missiles, anything that costs low. That way you could, get a full board of 5/5 elementals. Okay, now we run 1 Firebrand. He costs 3. He's a 3/4, and his spell burst is deal 4 damage randomly split among all enemies. So enemy minions. So it's a good clear card. In this scenario here, if I had Firebrand, it would really help me take out the Phase Stalker and the Evasive Fellwing right there. Evasive Fellwing. Okay, now we run 1 Conjurer's Calling. It's a twin spell. You destroy a minion and summon 2 minions of the same cost to replace it. So this is a really good card. If you have a card that costs 5 and he's about to die, you could play this, and now you're right back in it with 2 cards that cost the same amount. And now we're down to our last 3 cards. We have Jandis Barov, Battlecry. Summon 2 random 5 costs. Secretly pick one that dies when it takes damage. If you listened earlier for the Weapon Rogue, you already know what this does and what to do. And our last 2 cards, we have Frost Whisperer. At the end of your turn, deal 1 damage to all enemies, improved by spell damage. And it says all enemies, which includes the enemy hero. So this card is in every variation. It's really good. It could really clear the board and hit the minion for a decent, hit the enemy hero for a decent amount. And he has 3 attack and 6 mana. And 6 health. Sorry about that. And now we are up to the last 2 cards. It's Mana Giant. He costs 8, he has 8 attack and 8 health, but it doesn't really cost that. So, his ability is cost 1 less for each card you've played this game that didn't start in your deck. You have a lot of cards that give you cards that weren't in your deck, like Primeval Studies, which is giving you the spell damage minion, and you have the Mage Discover card, you have Wand Thief, so there's a lot of variations that you can do for that. And yeah, it's in every variation of Temple Mage. It's actually a really, really good card. You could get out 2 of them for 6 mana. They could each cost 3. So it's really, really good to run 2 of them. Alright guys, we are finally up to the last deck. This is Libram Paladin. Okay, so Libram Paladin is similar to Pure Paladin. They have a lot of the same cards, but the difference is Pure Paladin has only Paladin cards, no other neutral cards. And because of that, it gets rid of Light Forge Crusader, which if you have no neutral cards, it adds 5 random paladin cards to your hand. So I think this variation is the better variation. This actually just came out today, September 3rd. I just saw this deck, and let me tell you, I enjoy the hell out of this deck. So this battle that you're about to watch take place is me against a Guardian Druid. The match is 20 minutes long. It is a hell of a battle, and you're going to see, I highly recommend that if you are considering playing a Libram Paladin, that you watch this whole video and you see what I do, how it works, how it really like gets ramping, and yeah, just enjoy this last 20 minutes because I really, really enjoyed this matchup, and it was one of those matchups that, like, win or lose, I still would have enjoyed doing it because I really figured out how the deck fully operated, and it was really, really enjoyable. So let's go through the breakdown now. Alright, so first up we have 2 first day of schools. It costs 0, and it adds 2 random 1-cost minions to your hand. I know it seems like that's like meaningless. Why do you want 2 random 1-cost minions? But because of a lot of your bulk up cards like Libram of Wisdom and Hand of Adal, it's good to get one out there for 1 cost and then use those cards to ramp them up quick. You could get a full board of high cost cards for essentially 3-4 mana with Hand of Adal, Libram of Wisdom that could cost 0, and those 1 cost cards. So next up, we have Aldor Attendant. Its battle cry is reduce the cost of Librams by 1. It costs 1 to begin with, and it has 1 attack and 3 health. Next up, we run 2 Animated Broomsticks. Animated Broomstick costs 1. It has 1 attack and 1 health. It has Rush, and its battle cry is give your other minions Rush. Now you'll see why it all kind of goes together, because you'll have those random 1-cost cards. You beef them up. They can't attack on the first turn. You could play Broomstick, and now they could all clear the board on the first turn, and they cost 1. So it's really mana efficient, and it's really good to have. Next up, we have 1 Penflinger. You will see in this matchup how crucial Penflinger really, really is. I know he seems like he's not good and it seems stupid. I will read you the effect now. He costs 1 mana. His battle cry is to deal 1 damage, and his spell burst is to return this to your hand. Well, let me tell you right now, this card is not to be played with. You'll see in this matchup that I'll send it out. He'll do his 1 attack. He could clear your Divine Shield and stuff like that. And then I'm playing Libram of Wisdom that costs 0, or I'm playing Coin, spells that cost 0 because of Aldor that makes your Librams reduce costs. And I'm getting the Penflinger right back, sending him right back out there to do another damage, bringing him back to my hand with Libram because I'm clearing the board with the card that has Libram of Wisdom. Because what Libram of Wisdom does, which I'll explain to you right now, it costs 2 normally, but it gives a minion plus 1/1, and the Death Rattle add Libram of Wisdom spell back to your hand. So, because Aldor reduces the cards, your Libram cards by 1 or 2, you'll make this card cost 0. So, you'll see in this video what I do is, I'll add Libram of Wisdom to a friendly minion, I'll attack, I'll send out Penflinger to deal 1 damage. Now, the minion that I attack with, he died, so I get Libram of Wisdom back to my hand. I put it on another minion, but right before that, I send out Penflinger to attack. Then I put it on another minion, kill that minion, put Libram of Wisdom onto the next minion, and bring Penflinger back to my hand. And it's very fluent, and it goes together very, very nicely. And you'll see it in this video, how it works, and really runs fluently. Next, we have Hand of Adal. It gives a minion plus 2/2, and you draw a card. This card's in every version of all paladins because you get a little bit of draw and you get good ramping. Next up, we have 1 Lightforged Blessing. It's a twin spell, and it gives a friendly minion lifesteal. We went over what twin spells do earlier. If once you play the card and you give a friendly minion lifesteal, it adds another one to your hand for free. Okay, so next up, we have 2 Loot Hoarders. Loot Hoarder has been in the game since this game ever came out in 2014. It's a 2/1, and its Death Rattle is to draw a card. You run 2 of these. So you're getting your draw power with him. Next up, we have Murger. And he has Divine Shield, and his Death Rattle is to shuffle Murgler Prime into your deck. Murgler Prime, what he does is he's a 6/3, and once you play him, he summons 4 other random Murlocs with Divine Shield. He also has Divine Shield, so he's really, really good to have in this deck. Next up, we have Wild Pyromancer. This is essentially a different type of version of Risky Skipper. So what he does is, after you cast a spell, deal 1 damage to all minions. That's including himself. That's including your friendly minion. So it's essentially Risky Skipper, but instead of having to play a minion, you play a spell instead. Next, we got Lord Barov. Again, he goes hand in hand with Wild Pyromancer. Battle Cry. Set the health of all other minions to 1. Death Rattle. Deal 1 damage to all other minions. We went over him earlier with Bomb Warrior, so you should already get the gist of it. So now we're up to Salhead's Pride. He costs 3. He has 3 attack and 1 health, and his Death Rattle is to draw 2 1-health minions from your deck. So the cards that you're really getting from him are Penflinger, Loot Hoarder, and Murger. So you're getting your Legendary Murloc to help get Murgler Prime. You're getting Loot Hoarder to help to draw. And you're getting Penflinger to help get rid of enemies with Divine Shield and, to start your combo with Libram of Wisdom. Next up, we have High Abyss Allura. High Abyss Allura is in every Paladin deck right now. It's a new card, and it's really, really good. She has 3 attack and 6 health, and her spell burst is cast a spell from your deck, target this if possible. So you could actually get a couple different things from this deck. So let's just say, for example, you played her, and you did Libram of Wisdom on her. You could get Libram of Justice, which changes the health of all enemy minions to 1 and equips 1 weapon. So you're getting that for free. You could get really lucky too and get Libram of Hope, which restores 8 health, summon an 8/8 Guardian with Taunt and Divine Shield. So it doesn't necessarily have to be something that beefs her up. It could give you other spells that you have in the deck. So don't just assume just because it says target this if possible means that it's going to necessarily do that. Next up, we have Aldor Truthseeker. He costs 5. He has 4 attacks, 6 health, and he's essential to the deck. His battle cry is to reduce the cost of your Librams by 2. So, if you played him, now your Libram of Wisdom costs 0. Your Libram of Hope now went from 9 to 7. And if you played 2 of them, now it's 5. And it also makes your Libram of Justice, which is the weapon, and reduces the health of all minions to 1. It could cost 1 if you play 2 of them. Okay, and then next up was what I just said, Libram of Justice. Equip a 1/4 weapon, change the health of all enemy minions to 1. So it originally cost 5, but like I just said, with Aldor Truthseeker and the other Aldor, you could really make this card cost 0, make it cost 1, really nothing by the time you get up to 5 mana anyway. We're down to our last 3 cards now. So we have Devout Pupil, which is in every variation of Paladin right now. He has Divine Shield and Taunt. He has 4 attack, 5 health, and he costs 1 less for each spell you've cast on a friendly character this game. So that includes your Libram of Wisdom, your Hand of a Doll, and it just runs really well with the deck. Okay, so now we're up to the last 2 cards, and you're going to see how important this one card is. So the first one is Lady Leandrin. So she costs 7. She is kind of expensive, but she is so worth it, because her stats are a little low, 4 attack and 6 health, but her ability is just through the roof. So, what she does is, add a copy of each spell you cast on friendly characters this game to your hand. That includes every Hand of a Doll, it includes every Libram of Hope, and it also includes every Libram of Wisdom, and those cost 0. So let's say you use Libram of Wisdom 6 times this game, because every time your guy dies, you get it back to your hand. She's going to give you 6 of these right back to your hand. And that's where Penflinger really comes in full throttle, because now you're getting 6 of these that cost 0. You're putting it on a minion, then you're sending Penflinger back out there, and you'll see the combination, how it really gets flowing in this matchup. Okay, and we're down to our last 2 cards right now. As I mentioned, Libram of Hope, which you can also get from Lady Leandrin. It restores 8 health. It summons an 8/8 Guardian with Taunt and Divine Shield. So that restoring 8 health doesn't necessarily need to be on yourself. It doesn't necessarily need to be on your hero. You could also heal a taunt back up one of your strongest minions that's out there. And this card is really, really good because even though it costs 9, like we said earlier, the Aldors make it cost much, much less. So that's it for the breakdown of this deck, and now you'll see the rest of this matchup, which is about 10 minutes left. And I really hope you guys enjoy it. And honestly, this part of the battle is what I'm talking about with the Penflinger. You could see what I'm doing right now. I'm sending in the Penflinger, dealing 1 damage. I'm killing the guy that has Libram of Wisdom on. You see? Even he says, that's wild. Because I'm taking full advantage of this guy right now. I'm putting it back on, sending Penflinger back out, dealing a damage, killing the guy with Libram of Wisdom, and it all just works out in the end. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I'm really just trying to help people get better at Hearthstone. I really like Hearthstone. It's one of my favorite games, and I'm trying to help everyone understand the game a little bit better and give everyone the opportunity to see top meta decks and not just like look at them and see, oh look, these are all the cards in the deck. Like, I want you to see how they operate, and I feel like that like helps a little bit better, because even though it is really nice to go on Hearthstone's topdecks.com and see the deck, they don't really break down how to play the deck properly. You know what I mean? So like, if you get a visual and you get to see what I'm doing with the Penflinger and all that, you get a better understanding, and then you could choose what deck might be best for you instead of wasting your money buying packs and thinking that you want to be Tempo Mage because it looks good and it says that somebody got to rank 1, but in reality it doesn't matter because that's not your playstyle. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like anything else. If you play a first-person shooter like Call of Duty, just because somebody's using a 3-burst gun and they're the best in the world doesn't mean that that's your playstyle. You might like a light machine gun. You might like an SMG. And a card game is the exact same way. So I'm just really trying to help people out and help them get better. And I hope this helps you guys out. So okay.
Reporting for duty.
Holy shit. This deck is cool. I'm probably going to lose, but I think it's a cool deck. It's just different. This has got 3 cards, I got 6 cards. This is going to be a nightmare.
Energy, power. My people are
That's another
addicted.
thing. How is that card not in the fucking Malagos deck? How is that card not in the Malagos deck? Who cares that it costs 1? We're gonna fucking redo it. We're gonna
My hand is too full.
No, wait. What?
I'm going to throw the book at you.
That's the real life. He had 2 survival of the fittest. I can't. Most people on Guardian only run fucking 1. Why the fuck did this guy have 2 Guardians? Like, you gotta be shitting me, man. Shitting me.
What if...
What if nothing? Fuck you, man. What are the odds of you having 2 of those motherfucking cards?
Nature speaks through us.
Great! Fucking Ghidra! 2 of the same fucking survival! Fuck you, man. Nah, fuck you. You damn asshole. Should've fucking lost this. Motherfuck me. Yeah, it fucking hit me. Gonna do it again. Why the fuck did you do that?
to play with fire?
Why isn't he dying?
Reporting for duty. Move quickly.
What am I
I
gonna
have no cards left.
Thank God. Because I think I have one more. No, I don't have any. I lost it. This was a crazy match, win or lose. I want to tell this guy that. He's got 4 cards in his hands. I got 4 in my deck. This is going to be a fucking... Whew. What a match, bro. What a match.
Dream is your
Oh, no. Oh, no. He got me. He got me. Yep, he got me. It's over. What a piece of shit.
I do love a good study.
Reporting for duty. To battle!
Here they all come. Here they come.
I've suffered long enough. It's your turn now. You've got me fired up.
What?
Power and carnage!
My dream is your nightmare.
I'm running out of cards.
We know. And the last one.
I have no cards left.
Oh, God. This might be the coolest match I ever played. I deserve to break the glass.
Let's see.
What am I gonna do? Don't! No! Come on! Dude, if it really disconnects me at the end like this, I want to see what happens. Win or lose. Bro.
Reporting for duty. To battle!
Textbook move.
Woo! What a match! What a fucking match! Alright guys, so that's it for today's video. As I said earlier, I'm really just trying to help people get a better understanding of this meta, and that way they can see how the decks operate, and that way they could make a smarter decision and not just buy packs and disenchant cards and pick the wrong deck in the end. I'm really just trying to help you guys out and help you guys push to legendary and save some money. So that's it for today. If you guys liked the video, obviously hit like, hit subscribe, and I'll be making more videos like this for you guys. So see you next time.